Hello everyone, my name is Noah Mian on the Arc of Truth, and right now we're going to talk about basically 3 things that have been happening over the past week. Okay, right now, just recently, Reince Priebus, who was the White House Chief of Staff, has now resigned from his post, and now the Secretary of Homeland Security, John Kelly, is supposed to be taking over his position. Now, according to a lot of outlets, this is meant to maintain some discipline across the entire West Wing, because there has been a lot of problems there going with especially leaks, and there's especially concern from President Donald Trump that this inefficiency by the West Wing staff is causing him to not really get a whole lot of accomplished in the legislative branch. Now, to clarify what the White House Chief of Staff does, Wikipedia actually announced that the Chief of Staff has these responsibilities. Let's see right here. Select key White House staff and supervise them. Structure the White House staff system. Control the flow of people into the Oval White House, which is definitely a factor in terms of leaks. Manage the flow of information, protect the interests of the president, negotiate with Congress, other members of the executive branch, and extra-governmental political groups to implement the president's agenda, and advise the president on various issues, including telling the president what he does not want to hear. So with John Kelly, the Secretary of Homeland Security, taking up this role, it is hoped that since he was a former Marine general, he could maybe put in some discipline and actually get something started to clean up the mess that has been going on, especially from the leaks and from the recent failure of passing the Obamacare repeal, which I will get into later. But people are concerned because he is a general, but he has never held a position in office, and that is kind of concerning. And I admit that is a pretty valid point, but Reince Priebus actually had some political experience. He was a chair in the Republican National Convention, and of course, he was recently in the White House Chief of Staff, and I think he had other positions as well. So he was definitely had some experience in this area. He knew what he needed to do. But considering that, there was still kind of a problem. I admit that I kind of liked Reince Priebus. I thought he did personally a good job, but I kind of understand why Trump would decide to change it for John Kelly to become the White House Chief of Staff. I think that is a kind of a good role. I think that, yeah, the White House needs some discipline and needs to be cleaned up so that no more mistakes can be made. Because let's face it, after the healthcare repeal disaster, it just it kind of shows some disorganization in the West Wing. Now, since John Kelly is going to be transitioning to this new post, there is going to be a new Secretary of Homeland Security. For right now, it will be run by a Deputy Secretary Elaine Duke, who, for right now, will be acting as Secretary of Homeland Security, but it will probably change once President Donald Trump decides to nominate someone for the position. I think that for right now, the Department of Homeland Security is so far in good hands, considering that Elaine Duke is now the acting Chief of Staff. There's not too much known about her, but considering that a lot has been going well in terms of Homeland Security, I think it's probably safe to assume that Elaine Duke is definitely has this in good hands. Now, to continue on, we have, of course, the healthcare repeal. So, I am pretty pissed that the Republicans still didn't get Obamacare repeal. It pisses me off. What really pisses me off, though, is on Wednesday, and I know this is a few days old, but John McCain just decides to vote no. Instead of getting a 50-50 tie. We could have had, I know, I really want, believe me, I want a full repeal of Obamacare. A full repeal and a full replace. But considering that this is, at least gets rid of the worst of the worst parts of Obamacare, I was willing to accept that. I am pissed off that John McCain did not say yes, and then eventually it would go back to the House of Representatives so that it would be debated and then maybe amended so that things can work out. I mean, that would have definitely been a better scenario. In fact, that would have allowed Obamacare to be completely repealed after all. But no. And I've heard a lot of other people, other news outlets saying that this shows that the repeal is dead. I don't think that it is dead. Because there has been talk about Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina actually talking to President Donald Trump on making a new bill on repealing Obamacare. And I don't know. It's just, I admittedly, for right now, the Obamacare repeal effort is dead. But I think it's just gonna just fall back and retreat until it gets organized, and then they would have an actual bill that the entire Republican Party in the Senate can actually support. Hell, maybe even the House of Representatives would. I don't know, but for right now, Mitch McConnell actually is now focusing on tax reform, basically, so that they would at least get something good done. Since the Republicans hold both the Senate, House of Representatives, and the presidency. I mean, they need this if they want to get the 2018 election secured. I honestly still think that the Democrats will not do very well, especially in the Senate, but you never know. There could be a lot of different things that could happen. I mean, we saw back in 2016 that Donald Trump, who was not very favorable by any standards, and yet he managed to win the election. So that could change. Now, on the final note, the trans ban. President Donald Trump actually mentioned on his personal Twitter account that after consulting his generals, he decided that trans people will no longer be serving in the military. This is due to the financial costs that it takes for transgender people to get sex changes and a lot of the hormone changes and stuff. Basically, a lot of finances relating to medical costs. That is definitely a big decision right there. But I think that Trump should have added with in terms of the tweet was that it's also about psychology. I mean, after all, over 40% of transgendered people have a suicide rate, or commit suicide, and that's definitely a big issue. In fact, they have a lot of problems. In fact, it's kind of considered a mental illness called gender dysphoria, and its symptoms that even include depression. So considering that, I think that is a good move. But of course, yeah, you have to admit that there's a lot of people who are claiming that this is Donald Trump going back on his LGBTQ promises that he's protecting the LGBTQ community. That he's not going on that promise, and that's from a person who's happens to be against gay marriage, and who and yeah. That's from a person who happens to be against from gay marriage, me. I don't think that's really what's happening. I think he's just trying to do this in order to prove the effectiveness of our military and save some money at the same time. Plus, as an added benefit, transgender people would actually be safer, or at least serve their country in a different way besides the United States military. I don't know what other outlets they could use, but I'm sure there are plenty of them out there. For right now, that's all I have for you. I plan to post 2 more videos, one on what's going on in the rest of the world, like Venezuela and North Korea, and also Ben Shapiro. I think I may not actually do that video, but expect a 3rd video nonetheless today. Alright, that's about all. Post your comments down below, subscribe to me, and like this video. My name is Noah Amin from the Arc of Truth. Bye.